everybody, welcome back to the fish room. So I'm here with a Peru delivery today. Haven't had a Peru delivery in ages, and you are hopefully getting me in 60 FPS because I've got a new phone. Hopefully the audio is all right because I don't have a jack on this phone, which the new microphone that I got for the other one is a jack, so I need a little adapter to be able to use the other microphone on it. So hopefully you can hear me okay. Oh, actually, on that note, before we get started, if I press that, there we go. Should now have noise reduction on. That wasn't on before I started. That's a bit weird that it only pops up when you actually click record. So, here with the Peru. Peru is one of those where they bag them all up in one big bag all together. So I've got some really exciting fish in here actually. These are some really rare ones. Some of these I haven't had in for like a year as well. And I can just see on the top that we've got the little Robocop Ottos. So these are Nenoptacoma. Oh no, these ones aren't. These are the Cichlids cockarmers. So these are Zebra Ottos. Cichlids cockarmer. Also known as Zebra Ottos. So they're very, very stressed at the moment, but they have gorgeous black and white contrasting stripes. They get quite a bit chunkier than your normal Ottos. And they're also just generally a lot easier to feed as well. These have come in a really, really lovely size. So I should have 2 bags of 20 of these. Going to let them warm up a little bit. Yeah, so it's another bag of those there. Super healthy, super active. Probably quite keen to get out of here. So, keep an eye out on those. Oh, now all down in the bottom of here I've got some, so in the fish business these are normally called scatters, or fillers. So these are all individually bagged up, but these are a really tiny Apistogramma species. Well, they're actually not an Apistogramma, they're something called an Epistogrammoides. And this is about as big as they're going to get. So these top out around 3 centimetres, 3-4 centimetres tops. And this guy is really lively. He is certainly letting me know that he's not happy about being in this little bag. So let's get these floated. So I've got quite a few of these. They're very, very bleached out, but they have a really, really beautiful pattern. Very understated little fish. But as far as really tiny cichlids go, these being even smaller than a normal Apistogramma, very, very cool. These are almost more like the Dicrosus. I think they're called I call them just Dicros. Really beautiful little fellows. So let's put these over here. So that was 4 of those. 5, 6. 7. Oh, that's a nice male one there. Splendid. They're also active as well. They're full of beans, which is really good. That one's actually not too bleached out. You can see a little bit of coloration on its head. Might be another little male. 4, 5, 6. I've lost count. I don't know how many more of these there should be. Ah, there we go. That might be all of them. Excellent. So as normal, I've got the lights out. And then yeah, these are the ones that I said they were first off. So these are the Robocop Ottos, Nenoptacoma. Also known as Orange Cichlids, because they have these really cool orange heads on them. once again, not particularly stressed out. Doing well. I normally find with these types of species, all they really want is like some food. But these are very, very attractive. So they get these like red heads, and then they've got zebra stripes down the body. I think it's Nanoptochroma spectabile, but do not quote me on that. And then we have another bag of them here. So I don't like to keep these all of them in the same tank, because they will compete each other for food. So these are quite interesting. My research on these turned up that basically they are, they live on like floating rafts in the river, so they're normally up at the top. And they have been spawned in captivity. However, they do it like within the top inch of water, so they need quite a specific setup. So that's our top layer done. Got some Peruvian newspapers, which I will save, waste not, want not. I do have to double check it though, because they don't censor their news the same way we do. And sometimes the like law and price stuff can be quite gory. They definitely do not shirk on the details in their newspapers the same way that sort of more Western countries might. More, not sort of Western, more northern countries I suppose, because they're already over in the West. So next layer, seeing a good amount of movement down here. Surprise! Oh, beautiful. So these are Corydoras narcissus. Absolutely glorious. They have come in a beautiful, beautiful size. They're so super active. Haven't poisoned themselves, although there is some activated carbon in there, which is supposed to help with that. What a glorious group of those there are. Oh, aren't they fantastic? Cool. Wow, you're nice. Excellent. Right, so you guys are going over here. Right, it's me just battering my lights as usual. So there should be a couple more of those, I think. Yep. So that's the other bag of those. Once again, absolutely glorious. Excellent. Right, we'll not stress you guys out too much more. We'll try to put you in. So we should then have, oh, excellent. So these are Brocus multiradiatus, also known as multis. Wow, they're huge. Oh, these are gorgeous. So a lot of people will know, or maybe have even kept the Brocus splendens. I believe they might not actually be Brocus anymore. I think they may have actually put them in the Corydoras lineage. But these are the multiradiatus. Gorgeous emerald green colour. When they're juveniles, they're quite spotty and have quite big dorsals, and they change quite a lot. But you can tell because they've got these big old long noses. And the males tend to have the larger spotty dorsals once they're adults. It's difficult to sort of show the size. My hand, there to there, is 7 inches. So the bag is 7 inches, so these are probably about 4 inches each. And they will grow another 2 or 3 easily. Or I don't know actually, 7. Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 inches, including the tail. You like big cories. That is a big cory. So they do like it a little bit cooler. So a lot of the fish are now out of this bottom tank now, because they have gone up to their new homes. So you can't see what I'm doing, but popping them in there, and there should be another bag of these Excellent. So the brochus sometimes can't travel very well, or don't travel very well, I should say. They're normally alright when I send them out to new homes, but very, very often when I get a delivery of them, they do love to self-poison. They're very, very brave popping fish this size in a bag like this. The activated carbon's doing its job, but I think I'll probably be getting these out maybe second, because that water doesn't look very nice. But while it's sealed, any ammonia in there is going to be ammonium at the moment. But as soon as I open it, they are going to be extremely at risk of receiving ammonia burns, because the pH will rise. Oh, aren't you splendid? Look at you lot. What a fantastic delivery. Excellent. Okay. So all the lights are off because they've been in here for ages, a couple of days, and they don't have eyelids. So you know how much it hurts when somebody turns the light on in the morning and your eyes haven't adjusted to it. Imagine if you couldn't shut your eyes, that would be pretty horrible. So I did let them adjust with the lids sort of askew for about 20 minutes before I unboxed them. And then what I'm going to do now, maybe wait another 15 minutes, might go and have a coffee or something, and then I'm basically going to be popping and dropping them, which is going to be really fun with the little ottos, because you pull all the water out and then they will just stay in the bag, and you've just got to try and get them out somehow. So I will be back with you shortly, and we'll see how everybody's getting on. So everybody's looking really settled actually. Haven't got like too fast breathing or anything. I think their eyes are all right. Some of them look like they've got slightly rubbed up eyes. So I might pop a little bit of antibacterial in there. I don't know whether it's just them and the way the light's reflecting off these. But these are actually going to do some very, very important work for their species. These are going off to somebody who's doing a PhD on Corydoris. So these are going to be part of scientific study. They're not going to be killed or anything like that. Not allowed to do that in the UK, but they are going to be very, very important, and yeah, going to go off and do great things. I like how their barbels are actually still a really good length as well, but they kind of just look like they're going to get out of here now. They're gorgeous. Excellent. Here we go. Bug's doing really, really well. He's, that's why he's grown, but he's also like straightened out quite a bit as well. But I do dot the food all the way around now. I don't necessarily pop it right on the slate now. I let it sort of float around a little bit, and he's doing really well. The yellow in his tail is really coming up nicely. It's just room lights on this, so he'd probably come up a lot nicer if I had the full spectrums on it. But he's mostly just having these fish sticks stuffed with Massivore still to get his vitamins up. His eyes are still pretty cloudy, but he manages just fine, to be honest. It's just, you know, when you're basically a behemoth with tiny little paddle fins to like steer you about, it can be a little bit difficult to like start and stop. But it certainly keeps him busy. But yeah, I need to get some like razor clams and things for him in the next couple of days, because he is sort of getting a little bit bored of these. Because I've just been trying to really pack the vitamins in him to see if I can get his eyes as good as I can. But I mean, compared to how he was when I first got him, when he was just sat on the bottom, it's so cool to see him zipping around, right in the flow. Happy, happy little pufferfish. I say little, he's like 2 foot long, but he's doing really well. So the little Epistrogramoides, oh gosh, I'm going to make a hash of this. Pucpayensis. I'm going to go with that. These are the only member of the Epistrogramoides family. If my camera will focus on this little fella swimming about. So yeah, length without the tail, looking about 2.7 centimeters. And this fella is a beautiful little male. My camera really is struggling with the size of him, bless him. But I've just put the rest of them in the tank. We've got a little horde of them down here. They're absolutely glorious. So they're very, very closely related to the opistogrammas, but they are Opistrogramoides pucpoyensis, which kind of sounds like something to do with chickens, but it's probably the way I'm pronouncing it. So they're actually doing really, really well. They've travelled beautifully. It looks like we have a nice mix of males and females. I can even sort of tell the differences even though they're really, really stressed. When they're a bit more confident, they're going to be a beautiful sort of tealy blue colour. And then they get a gorgeous sort of like bright lemon yellow speckles through their fins. And you can sort of see the turquoise mottling on the face. They are absolutely delightful. They're so, so tiny. And they're not breathing hard. So I put them in a tank with relatively soft water and quite a low TDS actually. There's a bit of mulm on this and stuff on the bottom, but the TDS is quite low. It's all just like on the bottom and not actually dissolved in the water, if that makes sense. It's kind of just like bits of wood. Oh my gosh, my camera really doesn't want to focus on him, but he's beautiful. So quite low TDS. The temperature in here at the moment is, what are we at? 25.5. So they've got plenty of oxygen. Oh my goodness, they are so sweet, and they're already starting to like display to each other and argue. So they are a complete success. They have done really, really well. Opistrogramoides pucpoyensis. And you can almost see where the stripe down the back makes them blend in as pebbles. If you could only see in black and white, they kind of just look like the backs of pebbles. That's a very cool adaptation on these. Probably just going to leave them alone. They're all just sort of down the back. But once again, not breathing hard at all. And I was really impressed on the barbels on these actually. The barbels were not too short and nipped off. Sometimes if they're in the bag, it can like pinch them where the plastic pinches, and if they've got their nose down in a corner, it can be quite easy just to pinch off the ends of these barbels. But actually I'm really, really happy with these. They've come in really, really nice. I'd imagine that's like a dominant male at the front there with his dorsal all the way up. But I don't know. Beautiful Corydorus narcissus. And the little Otocinclus cacamas are wanting to show a little bit more of that zebra patterning. So I've got these in with my Santa Marias actually. I've got them split 2020, and there's no other algae eaters in the tank, so they're not going to be competing for food or anything. But actually their bellies are looking really nice. They tend to do better on a more sort of general omnivorous diet than the normal ottos, which are almost like exclusively algae eaters. These are breathing a little bit faster, but they are smaller fish. But beautiful zebra ottos. And they're very, very hardy. Once you've got them in, they're actually pretty bomb-proof. They do really well. Some people get put off because they're like fancy ottos and they think they're going to be really tricky. The Robocops are probably a little bit more like that. But these are still Otocinclus at the end of the day. They've just got a different paint job. And yeah, they do get really beautiful, bold pattern on them. They're just a bit stressed at the moment. If we check in on them in the morning, they'll probably look a little bit more like this guy here who's turned up the contrast a little bit more. So I will actually put some food in for these guys this evening. Not too much, but just enough for a little bit of protein. Beautiful big dorsal fins on these as well. They're just a little bit of a different shape. And this female better, I've had her for ages, but she's very, very peaceful, so she should leave them alone. The little Robocop ottos are all starting to disappear already, but they're all doing really well. Once again, really impressed with like the bellies on these. They don't seem to have been starved too much in transit. And now from the side, now that they're not in the bag, you can see that beautiful 3 black stripes on that tail with the bright white contrasting on it. And then, yeah, it's a bit dull at the moment, but the head gets a beautiful bright reddy orange on them. So I've got just some plants running up, and then just some floating bark in the tank. I might pop some duckweed in as well, but that should hopefully help to make them feel a little bit safer. Have to sort of simulate that pattern. And yeah, the Robocops, these are a little bit more difficult to feed than the Cichlids cacama. These will only eat straight up algae or gel foods, algae-based gel foods, so like Rapashi Soylent Green, Super Green, or the Pleco Pops, General Grazer or Algae Grazer. They're basically the only foods he's going to accept. They are extremely difficult to feed. They won't eat normal algae wafers. You can't just feed them cucumber, because cucumber's got basically no calories in it anyway. So that's the only thing with these. They do need a little bit of a unique setup. They're not going to do well with surface hunters, surface predators, because when they get up to the top, they're just going to be harassed by them and stressed out by them. But if you can provide for their sort of unique sort of habitat requirements, wanting to be up in that top sort of like couple of inches of water and needing that obligatory algae grazer diet, they're just as easy to keep as any of the others, really. So once again, got these in quite soft water on this system. pH is probably around bang on 7 in these tanks, but it is relatively soft. Obviously got shrimp breeding in here, so haven't got too much of a high TDS or anything, because the Neos wouldn't like it too much. It is a bit warm in here for the Neos. It is currently 25 degrees in here in this particular tank. These Robocops are just great. Such a cool little nanotopoma. All right, last but not least, the Maltese. This is the only one of them I can see, and it's very helpfully stuck its head behind that tube. But you can see that the breathing's very, very chilled. They've taken this whole thing very much in their stride. A little bit of a mottled pattern on there where this one's a little bit stressed. But I think the rest of them are somewhere behind all of this. So we'll just leave them to it. But I'm really, really pleased with how these have come in. Brocus, as I mentioned, do not generally travel very well at all. And yeah, these are a really good size. I think the one we're looking at is probably about 4.5 inches, including the tail. So they are a very, very good size fish. Generally, if you're looking for like a good sized Corydoras that's going to be all right with the more predatory stuff that's maybe going to be at risk of swallowing the smaller Corydoras, maybe you've got some oddball preds or something, these are sort of getting to more the size of like a hoplo catfish. So you could, in theory, keep these with some of the sort of larger cichlids. Oh, there's one there. I can't quite see it. But Brocus, generally, once you've actually got them in and they're settled, they're very, very hardy. It's just the travelling, they just really stress themselves out. These guys have coloured up so quickly, actually. Really taken with these. So just to finish off, obviously just going to leave everybody to settle in with the lights off overnight. And then I'll probably give you an update video in the morning. I'd quite like to do a new tour, actually, because I went to a reptile convention at the weekend and I've got a new little friend. It's not a reptile, but I would like to introduce you to a couple of new characters. But just to finish off, I just wanted to put a little bit of a tiny food in here and just see what the these little guys did. Basically just to see if they would like some food. Because it would be quite cute to see them eat.